Crack-a-lack. Good evening. We're going to call the meeting for Akron City Council to order. At this time, our clerk will read the roll.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor, Freeman, Fusco, Holland,
Aye.
Kamer, Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Mosley,
Aye.
Neal,
Here.
Homobian, Somerville.
Aye.
All members are present except for Councilman Freeman and Councilman Kamer.
For those who voluntarily wish to do so, will you please stand at this time as we are led in prayer by Pastor Linda Isaiah from the House of the Lord. Immediately following our prayer, I'm going to ask if Councilwoman Mosley will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I can't hear anybody. Can I be heard?
Pastor, we can hear you. And you can begin.
May we bow our heads for a word of prayer. Father God, we stop and we pause just to take this moment, just to breathe in and out from a long day of busyness. May we be able to focus on the agenda that is at hand, recognizing that we are limited and we can only do so much. We ask, Lord God, that you would help us to compromise and to learn how to disagree agreeably so that we can serve your people. We pray, Father, for the holidays who are coming up, that you'd watch over us and protect us, and we would come back changed and different, ready to do a good work. In Jesus' name we pray and give thanks. Amen.
Amen. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The minutes from our previously held meeting have been provided. Are there any additions or corrections?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, roll call.
Baylor, are you having trouble unmuting? I can try to send you a prompt.
Aye.
Connor, Fusco, Holland,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Mosley,
Aye.
Neal,
Stay.
Homobian,
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
The motion to approve the minutes passes 10-0 with one abstention.
Before you is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor, Fusco, Holland,
Abstain.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Mosley,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Homobian,
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
The consent agenda passes 10-0 with one abstention.
We'll now move to old business, beginning with rules. Councilman Fusco.
I'd like to pull a committee for a favorable report. Mobian. Favorable report on item number 1 in the Rules Committee. This is referencing the contracts with the law department and outside firms.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Aye.
Thank you. Connor and Malik.
Aye.
The report of the committee is favorable, and we're asking for passage this evening.
Any further comments?
This is referencing the law department's contracting with outside firms. I understand there's more work that's going to be done on this. So we recommend approval this evening.
Thank you. Councilman Malik.
Thank you, Madam President and Mr. Chair. And this stems out of the conversations we had around Section 56. And so as we go forward with this, I think that we are going to work together in creating a process by which council can review the outside council contracts on an ongoing basis and get all of the information that's needed to provide appropriate oversight. So look forward to that work with you.
Thank you, Councilman Malik. Councilman Neal?
Allude to what Councilman Malik said. Remember, some constituents have shared they like the fact that we're addressing issue 56, but they also asked if we would go one step further by identifying if someone is bidding on a contract, if they have given to anyone's campaign in the administration or in council. So just wanted to make sure that that's noted and carried forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Neal. Any other comments at this time? The committee's report is favorable. All in favor, roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor, Fusco, Holland,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Mosley,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
This ordinance passes 11-0.
Budget and Finance, Councilwoman Amobian.
Before you begin, I do have a substitute offered as an amendment to read in for item number 1. This is listed as item 0 in the new legislation. Substitute offered as an amendment offered by Amobian. Ordinance amending ordinance number 75, 2023, passed March 27, 2023, which established the annual appropriation for the current expenses, other expenditures, and the capital outlays of the City of Akron for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023, and declaring an emergency.
The committee's report is favorable, and we're asking for suspension of the rules.
Are there any objections to suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
As the clerk indicated, these are annual appropriations. There were some adjustments made, and Mr. Fricker and his staff identified those this afternoon.
Thank you. The rules have been suspended. The committee's report is favorable. All in favor, roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor, Fusco, Holland,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Mosley,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
This ordinance passes 11-0.
Councilwoman Amobian?
The piece, did you want to read that in? The whole piece, please.
Sure. Item number 2 is a resolution urging City of Akron to reallocate COVID-19 funds from restaurants to Forever Our Children's shower bus and declaring an emergency.
The committee decided to follow this as our rules request, but I can assure you that this will be resurrected next year and that we, as we've all indicated, we support it. It's just a matter of trying to find the funding for it.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other comments at this time? Okay. Councilman Neal?
Yeah, Madam Chair. And never got an answer to the alternative funding. Saw the letter that came out to all the council in regards to a letter that came from a concern from Beyond Expectation. Barbara was addressing that. But in regards to this issue, it's a simple one, simple answer. The question was, when we were looking for funding, because I understand that members of council wanted to take the ring door, the $172,000 that was left over from the restaurants, and use that for Ring doorbell cameras at some point in time. But there was the money that was set in our budget for the chief of staff position, which never came before council for a 2/3 vote. Now we have our law director here and everything. For council to create any position, it takes a 2/3 vote. That never happened, so that means that that money is sitting right there. It has to be, or else we're in violation of our charter if we spent it. So that position must still be being paid for out of the mayor's cabinet, like it was stated in the article that came out back in April of 2022. So I'm just saying, if it's this council's desire to really do right by the least of these in our community, we have a funding source. We can direct those funds to fund that initiative. No one stated that that wasn't the case. So I'm hoping that on this last night that politics can be pushed to the side and that this council can do the right thing. Please correct me if I'm wrong. If we ever voted 2/3 vote, which meant then we had the right to release those funds without violating our charter. If we didn't have that 2/3 vote, then we're in violation. And I know we've got members who are lawyers who have a better understanding of the charter than I do. We have our legal department here. Because I hear Mr. Moby, and eventually that will be done. But if you understand, Mr. Fusco and Mr. McKittrick, I appreciate you. You spoke to Ms. Porter. You understand that each time we delay, it pushes this project further and further out. So I just wanted to leave that before. And here's the thing. My question can be answered just real quick. If those funds aren't available, if maybe I missed a vote and those funds were created, then we could keep it moving. But if we didn't have the vote, and unless my understanding of the charter is misinterpreted, but never got that answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Fusco?
Yes, thank you. I understand. I believe last week's meeting, it was stated that that was budgeted and voted on 3 times, 3 separate times within this council. And also, I also heard a report that members of the administration, members of the city of Akron folks visited just recently the shower bus while it's being re-engineered, and discovered that it's probably not going to get out until the spring, which is what we had heard as well, Mr. McKittrick and I, whenever we had visited with them. So there is a little bit of time, but I believe that there is also, I agree with all of our colleagues here, there's a sense of urgency, and this is something that needs to be done, and that'll be a mission during the capital budget review. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Malik?
Thank you, Madam President. Just briefly, we discussed this last week, but I want to just be really clear on this point. That Mr. Neal is talking about an alternative funding source and raising the prospect of the city charter being violated. We had a representative of the law department speak about this last week, and that their opinion, the city's legal opinion, is that the charter is not being violated by the way that position is being funded. I would ask our law director, since she is here, to opine on this, since that's something that has been spoken to and has been invoked today.
Yes, good evening. Yeah, what you've just stated is correct. The position was both lawfully created and lawfully funded.
Councilman Neal?
Excuse me, Madam Chair. Still, my question hasn't been answered. Per the charter, it takes 2/3 votes for us to create a position. That vote never took place. And then when funding, just because it's a line item budget, we have to vote to release the funds. That's all I'm asking. Did either one of those ever take place? No. We know the fund, the position was created. It was documented in the article where the mayor spoke. We know how the fund was being funded. It's being funded out of the mayor's account. I'm saying if it is the will of this body today to fund the shower bus, that money's there. Now, if we had the 2/3 vote, then my point is moot. If we didn't, then my point is valid. Because per the charter, it takes 2/3 vote of council to create any position. And if we didn't do that, that means that it's still being funded out of the mayor's cabinet, and the money that we have lined item in our budget is available for us to fund the shower bus. Now, where there's a will, there's a way. I showed you the way. The question is if there's a will within this council.
Thank you, Councilman. Item number 2 will be filed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Planning and Economic Development, Councilman Fusco.
Thank you, President Somerville. The request of the committee is for time on items 1 through and including 9. I'd like to pull the committee for a favorable report on item number 10. Cameron's not here. Connor? Aye. Baylor?
Aye.
Mosley?
Aye.
Request of the committee is to pass item number 10. This, in fact, is the definitions and all of the verbiage that's going to be within our code, referencing the form-based code on East Market Street and in the surrounding areas. We do have a map. We'll be voting on the actual map itself here shortly. But we've already had done this kind of work on Kenmore Boulevard, Merriman Valley, and also this would be the East Market Street corridor. So with that, we're recommending approval this evening.
Okay, thank you so much. Any further comments? The committee's report is favorable. All in favor, roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor, Fusco,
Aye.
Holland,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Mosley,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian, Somerville.
Aye.
This ordinance passes 11-0.
Councilman Fusco?
Time on 11 through and including 26. Report of the committee on, excuse me, I must poll the committee first for a favorable report on item number 27. Connor? Baylor?
Aye.
Mosley?
Aye.
Report of the committee is favorable on item number 27.
Any further comment?
Yeah, just, this is, in fact, and you'll see that this was introduced some time ago, and we have taken our time to do all we can in terms of ensuring that the business owners up and down East Market Street is aware of the form-based code and what kind of an impact it would have should they tear down their building and rebuild. That's whenever it would come in play. Primarily during those times. But I want to thank the planning department for their patience. They've been more than patient with us. This is a new thing for the city, the form-based code, and there's many cities throughout the country who has also has had this and is looking toward doing this kind of new kind of zoning, if you will. And so with that, we're recommending approval this evening.
Okay, thank you. The committee's report is favorable. All in favor, roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor, Fusco,
Aye.
Holland,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Mosley,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
This ordinance passes 11-0.
Okay, that concludes our old business. We'll now move to new legislation.
Item 0 was the substitute offered as an amendment that was already voted on. Item number 1, offered by President Somerville. Resolution expressing appreciation to Russell Neal for his service to the City of Akron as councilman for the 4th Ward and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. And before we address our new business, we do need a motion to suspend the rules regarding all legislation to be considered at committee meeting. Do we have a motion
So moved.
Second.
and a second?
Second.
All in favor, roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor, Fusco,
Aye.
Holland,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Mosley,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
The motion passes 11-0.
Okay. All right, so we do have resolution on the floor expressing appreciation to Russell Neal. Councilman Russell Neal, are there any comments at this time from the floor? Councilwoman Amobian, I see her smiling.
I certainly want to thank you for your service, Mr. Neal, and I thoroughly enjoyed working with you, not only here, but on the national level with NLC and NBC Leo. I hope you appreciate the impact that you've had on this body as well as that body in terms of your leadership and bringing your whole self to these meetings. I appreciate the fact that you challenge us to try to think differently, and I know that many of us have appreciated that. I don't think this is the end. I think you either will be back. I know you won't stop serving your community and this community, but look forward to working with you wherever you are. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Russ is my brother. It is refreshing to be able to agree and disagree with someone, and then we still come full circle. There's been times when I can go to his business and sit there and have conversations with him and Miss Yolanda and just really learn and grow from him. And him really showing me the ropes at National League of Cities and watching how impactful Russ is on a national level with NBC Leo, and watching with pride as the president of that organization, and seeing how those individuals hold you in such high regard. I thank you for your service and for being my friend, and I know this is not the end for you. When one door opens, another one closes and one opens, and I know that you will do great things here on out. So I love you.
Thank you. Councilman Malik?
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to also echo my appreciation for your service, Councilman Neal. You've been serving in this body since I've been back here in the city and working as a lawyer for the city, and now working as your colleague on council. We don't always agree, even in the last 10 or 15 minutes. But I don't think anyone can ever say that you aren't speaking your whole truth and exactly what you believe. And I know that your service in this community extends beyond these chambers and extends to the neighborhood dads and to a lot of the work that you do at the grassroots in the community. And so, I appreciate always seeing you out there at community events. I know you said that your commitment to the community started before your time on council and will extend beyond your time on council, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Councilman Neal, do you have any comments?
Yes, thank you. Well, first, I have to start by thanking my wife. Anybody that does this work knows that it doesn't just impact you, it impacts your family as well. If I have to go to war, that's my ride and die right there. So if you think you had a tough time dealing with me, you don't want to deal with my wife. But I appreciate you, baby. Thank you for just all your support. You think you're hard on me, she's just as hard. But if you have a soulmate, that's what you get, so thank you, baby. And then to the Residence Award 4. I mean, I see another 1040 out there, Honorable Mike Williams. Yeah, I see you in the back too. I see y'all in the back, 1040. Man, what a pleasure to be able to serve the community you grew up in. So I thank you for entrusting me with that. And I will continue to serve. To the people who come down here and have challenged this council, even though things have changed, continue. Because democracy is not a spectator sport. We need everyone engaged to make this city what it needs to be. I had hopes there was so much more that this council could do and that this administration could do if we understood the difference between politics and the political process. I always told people that the political process is a beautiful thing. It's how we come with our differences, and we learn how to work them through, but the politics messes it up. Amen. The politics messes it up. And the racism. I just hope, moving forward, our city is going to have a lot of challenges. Like many cities, being able to be at National League of Cities, we know that the financial problems that this city faces, across the nation they face. And they've been masked by the COVID dollars and the ARPA dollars. But those dollars are drying up. We're refinancing bonds at higher interest rates. We've got to increase our water rate. It's part of life. The state did us no favor by increasing property taxes. And we were talking about people having high rents. But we had that ARPA money, that COVID money that paid for people's rents. That's not going to be there now. It's going to be upon this body, praying for you, my brother, the new administration, and all our social service folks to find a way to bridge that gap for the least of these. Just like for those who all they want to do is take a shower, not to have it delayed. When we have the ability to help people, we need to help people. So I will continue to do my part outside of the horseshoe. But understand, and this was, I feel, a low point for us last week. This is an all-Democratic council, Democratic administration. The policy that we passed last week that restricted, almost censored the public, you would think that to come from the other party. But you could tell no difference. Until this body understands the difference between being a politician and a public servant, we will continue to have that kind of disjointed policy flow through this horseshoe. So I appreciate you understanding that anything I brought, it ain't personal. I'm representing my community. I'm doing my best to represent the citizens of Akron. And if the politics continues, I will tell you, this city will suffer from it greatly. So my prayers is for those of you who will be left, that you'll feel the heart of the people. You'll feel their pain. You'll experience their joy when we do something that they approve of. And there's going to be times when you got to make decisions that they won't approve of, but you know you're doing it because you feel it's right, not because you met in the back room and you needed 7 votes to pass something. So thank you again to my wife, to the community for being able to serve. I'll say this and then I'll sit down, Madam President. I know we got into something that we didn't want to get into in the international affairs. But I have to tell you, it was a time when I was proud of the diversity on this council coming together to serve the community, our Jewish community, the Palestinian community, and our community at large that had a concern. That's the way they want to see us function. Even when we're on different sides of an issue, where we come together to address and hear their needs. So thank you for giving me more than 5 minutes.
Thank you, Councilman Neal. You're welcome. Reading the next one? Oh, okay, I forgot. We need to have a motion. Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor, Fusco, Holland,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick, Malik,
Aye.
Mosley,
Aye.
Neal,
Abstain.
Amobian,
Aye.
and Somerville.
Aye.
This resolution passes 10-0 with 1 abstention. Item number 2, offered by President Somerville. Resolution expressing appreciation to Tara Mosley for her service to the City of Akron as Councilwoman for the 5th Ward and declaring an emergency.
Okay, at this time, we'll open the floor. And I guess I'll start and begin. Councilwoman Mosley, we just want to thank you for your passion and your dedication for Ward 5, but not just for Ward 5, because the city as a whole. And so I look forward to working with you in the future because I know this is just the first chapter and you're moving to the next, but it has been a pleasure. And again, I just want to thank you for your dedication and your service. Councilman Lombardo and then Councilman Neal.
Thank you, Madam President. Well, Tara, you talk about landing in the right spot. I mean, I'm so glad to be here next to you. You know, I could say, first of all, you didn't have to buy me flowers for your
These are
last day.
mine.
Oh, okay. But no, just, you know, I could say that I'm glad we can agree to disagree. We didn't disagree on much. Because I think that, you know, you could tell your heart was in the job. You know, like Madam Council President Somerville said, you know, whether it was Ward 5 or the city, you know, your heart was in it, and that's what I saw, and that's what, you know, I tried to do the same. So I'm just going to miss all the bonding that we had, whether it was, you know, lunch or working on projects in the city. You came to my projects, I came to yours. You invited me to, you know, different school functions, so I really appreciate that, and going to miss you. But obviously, I stole your breakfast?
You did.
Okay, we can do that. But anyhow, thank you so much for your service.
Councilman Neal?
Thank you. Councilwoman Mosley, ditto, it's been a pleasure working with you, not just here on the grassroots, because you truly were grassroots, on the floor with the people, but as you stated on National League of Cities. I don't think folks understand the impact that when you have people from your city serving with other elected officials across the country, and I'm not out of place, Tara served on a national board. This is the group that takes concerns from cities all across the country and lobbies on the city's behalf to the federal government, to Congress. So that once-in-a-lifetime thing where those federal dollars came directly to cities and didn't go through the states. I know Mayor Horgan through the Mayor's Council, you guys were lobbying on your end. We were doing our side on the legislative side, and being able to have a representative on the board made a difference, especially when you serve in the FA, the Federal Advocacy Committees, and you get to see the stuff that you're talking about turn into policy. So I want to thank you for representing our community on a national level. And yeah, you already know we'll see each other out in the community. We'll continue to work. So appreciate everything you've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Malik?
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you, Councilwoman Mosley. It has been a joy to serve with you. You bring your whole heart to this work every Monday, and all the days in between. And you speak from your heart. You speak with a sense of urgency that calls us all to deliver for people, especially those who are most in need. As we have heard often, Ward 5 goes all over the city, except the west side. But Councilwoman Mosley knows a lot of folks on the west side. Most of her family's on the west side. But it is a reality that she really does represent and advocate for people all across the city. And whether it's a good day or a bad day, you always are there serving the residents, and you do your job. And so I really appreciate it. I'm honored to serve with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments at this time? Councilwoman Mosley?
No.
Oh, Councilwoman Mobley, I'm sorry.
I was just trying to give people an opportunity. You know, I had the pleasure of representing Tara, if there's such a thing. But she asked me to run her board meeting once. And I can tell you that you embody the strength of your mother. I was there, and she came to the meeting, and boy, did she remind us of a number of things. But I can tell you I can appreciate your feistiness, and I can appreciate your strength and your courage, and your willingness to just step out there and do some amazing things that, you know, even at my young, tender age, I didn't even think to run for deputy lieutenant governor, to run for the mayor of this city, to fight for legislation for your ward, and just stand up and just be honest and truthful. And I mean, it takes a lot of courage to do all of those things. And I have sat back and just marveled at you and your ability to just take it on. And again, this is not going to be the end of you, I'm sure. We would definitely see you in this city being very active and very involved. But I can tell you, I'm sure your mother is looking down with a lot of pride in all that you have been able to do. So thank you so much for everything you've done for this city.
Any other comments at this time? Councilwoman Holland?
Thank you, Madam President. Councilwoman, I want to thank you as I'm sitting here tonight. That's better. I want to thank you for sitting across from me for the past 2.5 years and for your encouragement when I came on board as a first-time legislator. As I'm listening tonight to all the remarks, I'm realizing that there has been a team of 5 that is disbanding after tonight. And frequently, we didn't talk about our decision-making process, but we landed in the same way. We had different processes, different ways of getting to something, but I think that what our voting block of 5 shared was a real desire to bring Akron into a modern time and to look out for people and to stay true to some basic core principles. I appreciate you. I know that this is just the beginning of something else that will be wonderful and dynamic and in service of others. So I look forward to seeing it. Thanks for all you've done.
Any other comments at this time? Councilwoman Mosley?
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank my colleagues for your wonderful remarks. It has been 10 years and a labor of love that I wouldn't change for anything in the world. One of the things that I've always wanted to make sure that I stayed true to is who I am and who is God, what God has designed me to be, and I believe that I've done that, and that brings me pride and joy. One of the things that I know I really wanted to do when I stepped into this role, and most people didn't know that, I left a job at the courthouse as a bailiff, making almost 60 grand a year. So when I decided to take a pay cut to come here, people thought I was crazy. They was like, you're gonna take almost a $30,000 pay cut? Are you nuts? But I knew what God had for me. And I didn't miss a beat even when it got hard. I stayed the course and surrounded myself with people who would tell me when I was right, when I was wrong, but I always thought I was right even if I was wrong. And to have such a great mentor, Mike Williams, when I stepped on his horseshoe, and he would tell me when I was wrong. And it was some days it was hard to swallow. Quick story, I remember when I was like, we're gonna pass marijuana, and he was like, no, we're not. I brought in an attorney talking about the criminal system and how it's affecting people in the court system, and he was not in support of it, but I did have support of Rich Swartzky, so I was happy about that. We let it go. But here we are today, 10 years later, not even 10, 8 years later, and it's legal. Well, almost legal, and so I know that the advocacy that I may have some days flipped tables trying to get it pushed through at some point, I think that people see that my heart was always in the right place. My grandbabies are here. Dallas is asleep, though. Hi, Dallas. And y'all want to wave? So those are only 4 of my 12 grandbabies that are here. I do believe I might have a 13th on the way. I will let you all know that. And they have been my biggest reason for doing what I do, is making sure that I lead by example, making sure that they have someone to look up to, and to know that it is okay to stand in these spaces and it's okay to be yourself, even when you feel like you're by yourself. And so those are one of the very reasons that I can stand in this place, knowing that the work that I've done in Ward 5, and I like to take a point of privilege to brag a little bit, just a little bit, to know that I bought in because of the relationship building in this ward, over $1 billion, $60 million just a few weeks ago with SUMA, you know, but we made sure we talked to those residents before we moved forward. And I think that one of the things that I've really worked hard on is building a foundation in that ward with my residents. Even when we didn't agree, we always found a common ground, and making sure that they were okay with whatever decision I made down here, because I knew it was about them. And in that, being able to make some lasting friendships and relationships with those residents because of it. I got Miss Melinda and Judy here, Reverend Schultz, and there goes Tammy. And this is what it's about, building those relationships in this community, in this city, so we can move this city forward. And that is all I've strived in doing these last 10 years down here. And I will continue to do the work, even outside this horseshoe. I think it's important that we all remember that titles are good, but purpose is better. And this title means nothing if you are not doing the will of the people. And that is what I've always done. And so in closing, I want to thank you, Mike. I thank you for showing me the way and telling me when I was wrong. Veronica, Honorable, soon-to-be state rep, thank you. There's been days when we don't agree with each other, but we'll sit on the phone and cry with each other and we'll figure it out. And Elisa, you have always been my big sister, and they have really, really shown me what it looks like to be a public servant. And definitely don't want to forget my husband and my best friend, who does not mind telling me when I'm wrong, but will support me in my decisions, and stays there with me every step of the way. That's what it's about, is surrounding yourself with good people. And I believe that those coming in, as long as you surround yourself with good people and continue to lay a foundation that the whole entire community can be proud of, you'll be okay. If you don't forget about the people, you'll be okay. You forget about the people, they will come down here every Monday and they will remind you. They will remind you. Some days are easier than others, but as long as you remember why you sit in these seats and who put you in these seats, you will be okay. And last but not least, Councilwoman Amobian said it best. I embody my mother, and there was days when I would fight against it. I remember when my kids were like, "You act just like Grandma," and I would get so mad. But I get it now. I get it. And my dad was the cool, calm, and collected one, but my mom was the one who would show up. You could not say nothing wrong about me. My mom was gonna let you have it. And I get it now, where I would deny it every day, all day, but I get it. And I came in here in 2013. My dad pinned me. He pinned me every year. 2019 was the last time he pinned me with he and my brother here. My mom was in the hospital. I'd leave this horseshoe without my parents, without my brother, but I'll leave with a community that has always supported me. Thank you.
Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor, Fusco, Holland,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick, Malik,
Aye.
Mosley,
Can I vote for myself? Does that mean? Yeah, aye. Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
This resolution passes 11-0. Item number 3, offered by President Somerville. Resolution expressing appreciation to Shamus Malik for his service to the city of Akron as councilman for the 8th Ward and declaring an emergency.
Okay. We'll go ahead and open the floor. We know you're not going far, though, just right down the stairs, so that's good. Councilman Fusco?
Yeah, thank you. Just looking forward to working with you. I know you have plans and aspirations for our city. We wish nothing but the best, and looking forward to working with you. Finally, just one little quick piece. 8 years ago, I served for 6 months as the mayor, and I had handed, at the swearing-in ceremony, I had handed the key to the office door to now Mayor Dan Horgan, saying, always, always keep your door open to everyone in Akron, and do the best you can. I know you will. That's the way you're made up. Looking forward to it. Thank you for serving with us.
Thank you. Councilwoman Holland?
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Mayor-elect, wow, I actually knew this day would come. And I wish you every blessing as you step into your next role. I do want to talk to you about a warm, sunny afternoon coming up fast on 3 years ago when we sat on my porch and we talked about what city council would be like. I would like to discuss that with you at some point. But I think most importantly, I want to thank you for the many times we worked together to solve problems, to come up with ideas that I truly believe helped move Akron in the right direction. The times when we compared notes, the times when we told stories and took walks and talked to people in the community together. One of the things that I know will stand out about your administration is the deep core belief you hold that everyone matters and that the more we open the doors of government, the stronger and better and more dynamic, more constructive, more everything government can be. I really look forward to watching the next 4 years unfold. Thank you for your friendship and your leadership.
Thank you. Councilwoman Connor?
Congratulations. So excited for you, so excited for us. It's been a pleasure to watch you back from the Civil Rights Commission when we first met, to grow into being our next city leader. You know, I'm always available if you need me. I'll bring the M&Ms. Good luck.
Any other comments? Councilman Neal?
Councilman Malik, Mayor-elect Malik. I remember when you were in the law department. You were always helpful with legislation that was brought forward. Saw something in you then. I don't know if you remember, there was a very heated, contentious meeting at Lawton Street regarding a shooting and disturbances at Open Pantry. You were one of the ones there. And when I introduced you to, I said, I want to introduce you to a young man that's in the law department. I said, I don't know what the Lord has in store for his life, but I know he has something in store for him. Didn't know it was mayor, but you just had something that shined through. My prayer for you is that you don't lose that. That you don't lose that. That's why people elected for you to be in office. They don't want the same thing. They see something in you. There's promise. But politics can tarnish that. Always stay a public servant. You'll never go wrong. Because even when you do wrong, you can earnestly say, I'm sorry. But if you try to play the political games, you get trapped. So I'm praying for you that there's no mistake that God placed you in this position. Just as you said before, as long as you stay true to yourself, never compromise, then you will be okay. You won't always be right, but you'll be okay. On council, no, we didn't always agree. We've had our conversations. But without a doubt, man, it's no mistake that God's put you in this position. So I'm praying for you. I know the community's praying for you because as you go, so goes this city. So God bless you, God keep you as you move forward.
Since no one is talking about this cabinet that you have hired, we can't get any information about it. I guess we have to wait. But I do see one example of your good judgment is Alice, and it is Alice, right? I'm forever trying to change your name. And I mean, it's wonderful that you've surrounded yourself with someone like that, because this position, as we look around the city and see the challenges we have, you need to have somebody that you can go home to and have confidence and support from. I tell you, this has just been a whirlwind. I mean, my ward council person, and now within 4 years, you are the mayor of the city of Akron. I guess you're still trying to get your arms around all of this. There's no question that I knew you were very bright, and I love the fact that you were born and raised in the city, and that you're a product of our school system. And hopefully other young people will see you and see the work that you will do and the work that you have done and decide to join this thing called public service, because it offers a lot and you can do a lot of good for people. And I have lots of hope, and I certainly plan to work with you. I'm looking forward to it. I thank you for the things that you have done, and certainly look forward to what is to come. So thank you very much.
Councilman Malik Shamas. I look forward to seeing what you do with this city. I think that you have the heart for it. I think your love for people will help you on those days that may become trying. As long as you keep Alex with you, just saying. But you guys still owe me a pie. Gotta remind you of that. I look forward to seeing you grow with this city. I know that being in these positions some days could get harder than others. But I think you're ready for it. I really do. I think that because you're willing to step outside of comfort zones and go into rooms that some people won't go into and have conversations, some harder than others, is what has prepared you for this moment. And keep doing that. Keep doing that. Even when those rooms get hard, you got to go in those rooms and have those conversations with people. Even if you have to come out a little beat up because of it, they will respect you for it. They will respect you for it. And keep God first. God, family, community. Remember those three things and you will be okay. Just as you carried yourself on the campaign trail, some people got along better than others. Shamus and I didn't share one bad moment with one another. We actually enjoyed being in each other's company and bouncing things off of one another. Keep doing that. Even when you have that adversity, just keep being who you are. And remember those three pillars and you'll be okay. Thank you.
Any other comments? Councilwoman Baylor?
Yes, I just want to say, Shamus, I remember the times when you just like, come on, let's go walk the wards and this and that whenever you were running, and I was running for various things, not just city council all the time, sometimes school board. But you are a very approachable young man, always willing to share your knowledge and your experience to help. You've always, you're very inclusive, and you know, you got the right qualities and personality for this job because you never make anyone feel less than a human being. You allow people to wear their dignity and you allow them to have it. And I just thank you for all the opportunities that I've had to join you in some of the endeavors while serving on city council. It's been a pleasure, and I know that you're going to do well, and people are going to learn to love you, those who don't already, and that you'll do what you know or think is best for the city. I believe that. I believe that you have the city at heart, and you'll do everything within your powers to see that it's taken care of. So congratulations on that. And I just wanted to share that because I really, really appreciate you and all the things that you've done that I've seen. And like I said, with me on city council.
Councilman Malik?
I just want to say thank you to all my colleagues, to Mayor Horrigan, to each and every staff member of the city, to our safety forces, and to everybody in the community, and especially Alice. And thank you all.
Thank you. Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Second.
So move.
Second.
All in favor? Roll call?
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor, Fusco, Holland,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick, Malik,
Aye.
Mosley,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
This resolution passes 11-0. Item number 4, offered by President Somerville. Resolution expressing appreciation to Mike Freeman for his service to the city of Akron as councilman for the 9th Ward and declaring an emergency.
We'll go ahead and open the floor. I know Councilman Freeman is not here, but I saw many of you, I think that was last week, at his last ward meeting. They did do a farewell celebration for Councilman Freeman. But are there any comments? Councilman Fusco?
Just brief here. Mike had served with the city council for over 20 years, I believe. And he truly did represent his area. Oftentimes we have those kind of discussions about do you do what you believe everybody wants or a few folks want or what have you. Mike was always there and in step and in tune with his community. And had a passion for Kenmore, truly did. And I know he is going to continue to be active, especially with the new council person who's the incoming Tina Boyes. And so it's been a real pleasure. I know somebody out there who served with him for a spell as well, Mr. Williams, and also Veronica Sims served with him as well. And he is always the consummate gentleman, and also he was always quick on the comments, and usually very funny. So, but he'll be missed. But Mike Freeman served Ward 9 well.
Thank you. At this time, is there a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? All in favor, roll call?
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor, Fusco, Holland,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick, Malik,
Aye.
Mosley,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
This resolution passes 11-0. Item number 5, offered by President Somerville. Resolution expressing appreciation to Ginger Baylor for her service to the city of Akron as at-large representative on city council and declaring an emergency.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go ahead and open up the floor. Councilman Fusco?
Thank you. The Ginger, you will be missed here, and appreciate all of your service. Appreciate your passion for Akron, your passion for the community, and your passion for family. We've shared quite a bit over these last few years in terms of why we serve, what we do, why we're here, and what motivates us. And it's at the end of the day, I know for many of us, not only just service, but it's also family as well. And that looking for the next generation and trying to help them along the way. And I know that's where your heart was always, with your service on the school board as well as here on Akron City Council. You will be missed, my friend. And I also appreciated all of your courage throughout the many, many tough times that we've had these last few years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Also just want to say, Councilwoman Baylor, I too am going to miss you. I want to thank you for your service. I've enjoyed working with you, not just here while on the capacity of City Council, but also when you served the school board. I also want to just thank you for your friendship. Again, this work is very tough, and just your calls just to check in, I appreciate that. And I wish you the very best in whatever your next endeavors are. Councilman Malik?
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you, Councilwoman Baylor, first for the kind words you shared with me, but I particularly want to thank you because of how much you care about people. And whenever you're engaging with people out in the community, it's really clear how much you care about them. And in addition, you always try to bring a sense of humor to things. And even when I'm trying to be pretty serious, you're sitting there nudging me, making jokes, and I appreciate that, because I think we all need to try to find some levity amongst the difficult things that we are dealing with, and despite how serious things are, we have to balance all of those things. So just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Councilwoman Baylor?
Oh, yeah. Well, it was a pleasure to serve with each and every one of you guys on City Council. I learned so much. I learned a lot about politics, good, bad, and the ugly. But I learned a lot, and I took something away from each and every member on council. And I do believe that we did a lot of good for the city of Akron. I am proud of the work that's been done. I applaud our mayor because he saved our city from going into deep waters. Our infrastructure was so screwed up, and he had the courage to step out there and in light of all the criticism and things that people were saying, but they didn't understand that this was something that needed to be done, and he had the courage to do that, and I applaud him because that takes a lot. And not everyone agrees with you when you're doing things, and you experience a lot of that. But I thank you for it, because I know what the good that you did for the city. And not just that, just several things that were done and accomplished and still ongoing for the city that you have started, that are good for us as citizens and inhabitants of Akron, Ohio. And I know everything's not perfect. And sure, our constituency, they, have concerns and things like that. But I believe that the next administration is going to be a good one. You guys are going to get a lot more done in a different way. But certain people serve for certain times, because those times things are needed of those people, and they have whatever it is, and they have to deposit that. But it doesn't mean that they're there to stay. They move on to the next assignment, because I'm a strong believer in God, and I believe that my steps are ordered. So it was my time to go. No matter how it happened, it was time to go. So there's another assignment for me, and when I feel that he reveals that to me, then I will step into that role as well. So I just thank you all for everything that you guys have deposited into me, and that I have learned from you guys. And I wish you well, your next administration. I know it'll be great.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor, Fusco, Holland,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick, Malik,
Aye.
Mosley,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
This resolution passes 11-0. Item number 6, offered by President Somerville. Resolution expressing appreciation to Daniel Horrigan for his service to the city of Akron as the 62nd mayor of Akron and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. I will begin. I want to thank Mayor Horrigan for his dedication, his commitment. It has truly been an honor and a pleasure to work with you. I just appreciate just your willingness to always talk and have the door open. And I thank you. On behalf of the residents of Ward 3, I thank you for everything that you have done in the Summit Lake community. We would have never been able to accomplish all that we had without your leadership and your support. I also want to thank you regarding Ed Davis Community Center. You remember this, when the plans first came in, we did an assessment of all the community centers. Ed Davis was the worst on the list. And at the time, all we were talking about doing was replacing the gym. And as a ward council person, I wasn't too happy about it. I called Mayor Horrigan, I said, meet me out at the community center. And he did, and he listened. And because of that conversation and his commitment to all of Akron and the residents of Ward 3, Ed Davis is getting a brand new center right now. And we would not have been able to do that without the leadership of Mayor Horrigan. So I want to thank you. My residents want to thank you, and all of Akron. You will be missed. Thank you. Want to open up the floor to anyone else? Councilman Fusco?
Yes, thank you. I just want to, these have been, everyone here, everyone in Akron, everyone in the United States, this has been the toughest 4 years without question, I think, if you look at what Akron has gone through. So many things have occurred, so many things have happened. The job of mayor is tough enough as it is. It's a tough job. Constantly you have to make decisions, and oftentimes there's so much at stake. And so it's a tough job. But I will say that I prayed for the mayor and his cabinet these last 4 years many times because we were at crossroads oftentimes. We were challenged a lot. So many different issues coming forward, the pandemic, so many different things. And Mayor Horrigan, you got us through it, man. You really did. And you and your cabinet members, working with council, stepped up, and we got it through. We got through this thing these last 4 years, and hoping and continuing to pray. Looking forward to the future, but we got through these last 4, and I'm hoping and praying, and I believe that we're better for it. Thank you, Mayor, for doing that.
Any other comments? Councilman Lombardo?
Thank you. Mayor Horrigan, I just want to thank you for, your leadership. There's probably a lot of questions what's going to happen with you, January 1st. As far as I know, there's no book out there that, how to lead a city during a pandemic or how to lead a city during times of crisis. So that would be my suggestion for you. You could start on that book because you did a great job. You did a great job leading us through all that. And appreciate your leadership and your friendship. And good luck to you.
Councilman Malik?
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Mayor. First met you a number of years ago in Gary Rosen's backyard when I was in law school. And I really, really, when I reflect on it, have so much appreciation for the level of care you have for this community. You've really devoted yourself to this community over the course of a whole career in public service, but especially these past 8 years, and especially during that time of COVID, I just can't even imagine the amount of time and the amount of sacrifice. And that sacrifice has real consequences, right? You're sacrificing time that you could be spending doing other things, and you did it because you love this community, and the community is better off for it. Thank you.
Councilwoman Holland?
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Mayor, I want to thank you too. This has been an extraordinary several years, and I can't imagine the enormity of the piles on your desk. I just can't imagine it. What I really want to thank you for, and I do so on behalf of the 18 or 20,000 residents of Ward 1, is that even as those mountains of other issues occupied your desk, I saw you take a real moment to understand how passionately Ward 1 feels about the environment, about our green space and our natural resources. I want to thank you for all that you put behind the Merriman Valley planning process. I want to thank you for sparing Tice Woods. I want to thank you for things like allowing us to push to get our city on the Monarch Pledge list. These are big things and small things and in-between things, but what all of them represent is that you really put your heart and you put the city behind things that are going to be here long after all of us are gone. And I won't forget that, and the residents of Ward 1 won't either. Thank you.
Councilwoman Connor?
As we're piling on thanks, let me add mine for something that a lot of people may not have foreseen, but your commitment not only to the environment, but to our city parks. The Parks Challenge came in under you. It has renovated and helped so many parks. As COVID hit, our people needed to be out in those parks, enjoying fresh air and enjoying the camaraderie and the pleasantness that the park offered during a time of crisis. Your commitment to the enhancing our tree canopy, all of those quality of life, outdoor nature things that we tend to overlook in our day-to-day battles have just been blossoming in the neighborhood, and it makes us so happy to go out and see the kids playing in the park and enjoying themselves as they should. Thank you so much.
Councilwoman Mosley?
Mayor Horrigan, I don't know who I'm going to text now. I appreciate you being so open and honest with me. We would agree to disagree. I could text you at any time when I had issues with whatever was going on in the city, and you would always respond and check into it. I know when the city first put out the notice about the splash pads, I was overbearing, but we got the first splash pad because of it. A little overbearing I was, but we got it. And a lot of people don't know that when I ran for to be on the board of directors for National League of Cities, I reached out to Mayor Horrigan and said, would you write me a letter of recommendation? And he did it without hesitation. And I submitted it, and it was my second time running to get on the national board, and I got on that board. I mean, you didn't have to do that, and you did. I think one of the things I appreciate about you is he didn't get caught up in the theatrics of stay away from Tara. He didn't stay away from me. If I had questions, he would talk to me. We would see each other out, and we would always have conversations with each other. And I would remind him that his hair is getting whiter and whiter every time I see him. So I wish you well in all that you do, and take care of those grandbabies.
Any other comments? Is there a, Councilwoman Baylor? You're on mute.
Okay. Mayor, I just appreciate you. And just like Tara said, I could call upon you, have questions, and you're always available. You care so much about this city. You're a family man. You care about different sects of people, like the young people, the middle-aged people, the older people. You care about this city and everyone who lives in it. You have done things that's going to enhance all of our lives. And I don't know how many times we could say thank you. And just like someone mentioned before, this it's unfolding. It hasn't really totally unfolded all the things that you have done during this past administration. So I just want to say thank you again. Uh, Enjoy your family, enjoy your life. You deserve it. You've earned it. And I just thank you so much for what you have done for the city of Akron and for all of us.
Thank you. Mayor Horgan, we would love to hear from you.
How much time do I have? No, I'm kidding. First, to those of you that are transitioning to a new maybe set of public service career, I never in my life did I ever doubt your sincerity of your beliefs, as many times as we disagreed, which was quite often. And if there's one thing that I think you and I can agree on, is the authenticity to yourself. You all have brought a passion to the job, and I think you should be extremely proud of what you've been able to do and to bring to this body and to the city. And for that, I know on behalf of the city, thank you. And on behalf of your residents, they are very, very proud of your service. And so as I look out, and I do see people that I served with before. I think Veronica's there. I think Mike is behind the young lady. It has been an absolute honor of a professional lifetime to be able to do this. Whether it was on city council, the clerk's office, and the mayor's office, I approached the day, every single day, about, how do we make the city a little bit better? And to my staff, who had to put up with a lot of stuff from me, but they were dedicated to the city, and for that I appreciate every single day, what you've been able to do. And it is a transition period, and we have been working hard on that particular part of it, because I think that's what matters. A good governance matters, and I think we approach that to say this is how this is supposed to work. The decisions will be a little bit different after a certain point of time, and that's fine. We signed up for this, and at some particular point, it all ends for all of us. There's a Latin phrase out there called omnis una mana nox, and if you know Latin, it's the same fate awaits us all. And at some particular point, we will make those decisions to be able to do that. You don't need to write that down, Shamus. I'll send you a picture of it, too. So, but it is that authenticity of what you have all brought to that job, and I think that's made this city stronger, and for that, I appreciate. There's no more group, and if you've ever gotten those calls from Margot, you better pick them up and return them right away. And I was able to really, I think, have a really, really good working relationship as many times as we pushed each other back and forth into doing things into what's best for the city of Akron. But to my family, I owe them the most. And as I listen to Russ talk about, his family and how important they are, there's nothing more important on that side. And your family also, and all of our families who support us for the last 25 years, 10 years, 15 years. On behalf of the city of Akron, I appreciate everything that they've been able to do for me. So as we wind into this holiday season, I say God bless and have a great holiday season. Thank you for everything.
Do we have a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor, Fusco, Holland,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick, Malik,
Aye.
Mosley,
Aye.
Neal, Amobian,
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
This resolution passes 11-0.
Okay. That concludes our new legislation for this evening. We'll now move to public comment period. If you are here in the audience and have signed up to participate, I'm going to ask that you please stand at this time so that you may be sworn in by our clerk.
Could you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth? If so, please say, I do. Thank you.
Thank you. Just going to ask when you hear your name to please approach the podium, and you will have 3 minutes to speak to this body. We're going to begin with William Reynolds. Is William Reynolds here? Acacia Reynolds? Apostolate?
Good evening, everyone. I didn't know I was coming to this, actually. But before I go to why I actually came, I want to just say congratulations to those who have won the elections, and thank you to those of you who have sacrificed your lives, your families, your careers, and your time to make yourself available to meet the needs of the people. Excuse me. Councilman Neal and Mrs. Neal, every time I'm sitting here, when I'm coming, I think of a scripture. John 15:15 says, I no longer call you servant, but friend, because you do the things that I require of you. Until leaders become friends with the people, then we won't have politics or pure religion. The reason I came this evening is because I wanted to just say that as the year closes, I am in total agreement and I appreciate the new rule. We don't have enough days and enough time to do what we need to do. I would also like the council, the different organizations to begin to expound, elaborate on the smoking ban and extend it more. And as I seek the presidential seat of the United States of America for the 2024 election, my ninth cousin removed George Washington, General George Washington, won battles and victories for this country through guns and weapons of warfare. He was the first American president to free slaves. He realized that people were not property. And I want to thank you all very much since I've been coming to Akron for making me safe and giving me a better life. Two of my great-grandfathers were Baptist preachers. They realized that religion had a place in the community. And as I seek this election, I would ask that some consideration would be done for me also through media, press, and other components, because I keep being discriminated against because I'm not white, I'm not male, I'm not LGBTQ, and I am a Christian woman. I don't need to be any of those to be this nation's leader. I've watched my parents sacrifice 66 years of their marriage, missing dinner with me, to meet the needs of people in communities, nationally, locally, and otherwise. My parents have even owned property here in the city of Akron. But I ask, as you all honor each other this evening and go from one place to the next, so always remember, you can serve, but if you're not a friend of those who you serve, then your service is null and void. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for welcoming me to Akron.
Thank you, Apostle. David Garan.
David Garan. I was surprised to see Mayor Horgan actually showed up. I almost forgot what he looked like, but of course couldn't bother to stay and listen to the citizens. Congratulations to Fusco's Gang of Eight on their passage of the changes to the public comment period rules to stifle the public's ability to educate you all and express the needs of the public. I appreciate Councilors Malik and Holland for their votes against the changes to the public comment rules, even though they experienced a great amount of criticism for the original resolution in sympathy of Israel. To remind us all, that poorly written resolution was proposed by Mayor Horgan and Councilor Fusco, excuse me. Also, I appreciate that councilors Omobian, Mosley, and Neal were against the changes to the public comment rules. For you all knew that that you are public servants and you need to listen to the public. Additionally, I'd like to highlight that Councilor Neal was nearly the only council person who would ask questions of the administration and of the council president, Somerville, and council vice president, Fusco. His proposal to fund a shower bus is needed for the poor. But the other 8 or so councilors seem to not give a damn about the poor. While at the same time, the Fusco's Gang of 8 will move heaven and earth for developers. The White Pond development was forced through. Speaking about asking questions, why is SUMA building a high-end housing across the street from its facility? Is SUMA returning to its scheme to bring out-of-state doctors, which led to SUMA losing its accreditation to train medical residents? Where is SUMA, a nonprofit, getting the money to pay off the financing for this project? Is SUMA overcharging its patients who live in Akron? Why don't you all ask these questions? Thank you much.
Thank you, David. Dr. Jahala? Help me.
It's all right. Can I ask a question before I start? Is the law director here today?
Yes.
Oh, good. Excellent. Thank you all for allowing me to speak. First of all, I'd like to thank Councilwoman Mosley and Councilwoman Neal for proposing the resolution calling for the ceasefire and condemning the killing of innocent civilians by Israel, as well as the illegal occupation and settlements in Palestine. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with a lot of you after the passage of that resolution, and I'm happy to hear from most of you the sympathy you have for the Palestinian people. Now it's time to put those words into action. By unanimously passing the resolution verifying Israel's involvement in breaking international law, not only with regards to the atrocities it's committing in Gaza, Palestine right now, but also with regards to ongoing illegal occupation settlements in Palestine, you must protect Akron from being complicit with these crimes. Come with me to Palestine and travel to separate roads and checkpoints with me. You'll see what apartheid is like. Just be sure to wear clean underwear in preparation for the strip search. You must cut city and county ties, as well as investment with Israel, and not continue to support the regime that is guilty of murder, theft, receiving stolen property, state-sponsored terrorism, and holding Palestinians hostage. That is quite a rap sheet. I think this kind of pressure will force Israel to stop its criminal behavior and comply with international law. I know a lot of you here probably feel that criticizing Israel is anti-Semitic, which is absurd. That's like criticizing Saudi Arabia or Iran and saying that it's Islamophobic, or criticizing the Vatican and saying that it's anti-Catholic. Failure to cut these ties and investments is the wrong message to be sent to the city of Akron. It says that we are not for the rule of law. If that is the case, then would the city have any legal ground to make us pay our city taxes? If we do not believe in the rule of law, if you guys do not believe in the rule of law, then why should we? The U.S. has spent a lot of money and effort in trying to protect and defend Israel for the last 75 years. Well, how has that worked out? Maybe it's because Israel is not using the money to defend itself, but to occupy, oppress, and spread propaganda of hate against Palestinians. This is not just what Palestinians say. Listen to what Jewish scholars, organizations in Israel and the United States have to say. Organizations like B'Tselem, Jewish Voice for Peace, Breaking the Silence, and then come back and tell me if standing with Israeli policy is where you want to be. I would like to quote one of those Israeli scholars who said, this was Ilian Pape, you cannot create a safe haven for a people while creating a catastrophe for another group of people. Again, that is not to say that we not stand with our Jewish brothers and sisters around the world. We just don't stand with the ones who claim to be people of the book but are criminals and racists. As for the limiting of speakers, I ask you to reconsider. We know all of you are educated people, but we can't expect you to know everything. These past few months have been a good example. That is why the public input is vital and should be encouraged, not limited. Finally, please pray for our elected leaders who know the truth but do not say anything about it. It is sad to say that in this holiday season where genocide continues and Christmas in Bethlehem is canceled, that as we remember the teachings of Jesus and the Word of God, that many of our local and state and national elected officials fear a lobby more than they feel fear of their Creator. My advice to you is life is short. Do good with the time that you have on earth. Make everyday decisions like you would if you were standing in front of God, the Almighty. We should do this to protect us all from evil. Thank you.
Thank you. George Johnson.
Good evening, Madam President, members of City Council. I came back because of last week when I said the brief statement about public comment, I felt I needed to come back and really make an emphasis on not only what I meant, what I said, and what happened when I left with my group of 5. I was one of the original organizers to help put that on the ballot to give individuals in this community that opportunity to speak to this body. I feel professional organizers that I have noticed have abused that opportunity, and you needed to rein it in. And I thank you for it. When I left here with my group of friends, union members, we were berated at the front door by people who would usually come here and talk about how they want freedoms for themselves and other people, but they clearly don't want us to have the freedom to speak our mind. That is hypocrisy. That is terrible. So I wanted to come down here and let folks know, first of all, I ain't scared. And second of all, I'm thick-skinned, and I've been a union rep for years. I've been doing what you folks been doing for 30 years plus. I'm thick-headed, and I don't know how to be scared. So I'm going to say what I want to say at this body whenever I have an opportunity to, so will my friends, and I wish you folks would do exactly what you stand up for and allow me and anybody else that comes down here that may disagree with you or other members of this council to do the same without being ripped up, talked about, and attempt to be intimidated. I also like to say that my friend and I who's standing outside, DJ Luciano, were asked to look into the dealings and business practices of something that's been talked about down there. That's the Barber College and the oncoming council person. We found a number of red flags. Mr. Malik, before you do anything, please look at it. Madam President, you're welcome to ask us what we found. We found things that, there's no trust that we could see that was set up that is the legal way for a person to step away from their business and give somebody else the opportunity to run it while they're doing it. There's no trust set up. That's the way it's supposed to happen. We found that the black female young lady who filed the lawsuit against Mr. Eric for sexual harassment.
Madam President, this is out of order. This is out of order. This is out of order, Madam President.
Nevertheless, the settlement was made for undisclosed amount of money. We found also some red flags and other business practices and campaign finances. You're welcome to find what we found. We'll give it to you, no problem.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. And I apologize if I mispronounced the name. Is it Zoe? Is Zoe here? No? If not, we're going to go with Mike Williams. Is Z-H-A-O. That is you? Okay, I'm so sorry. You changed up your name today.
Yeah. Get it on my mother's side, get used to it. Stille Nacht, Heilige Nacht. Silent night, O holy night. Christmas 1914 was one to remember for countless soldiers across the Western Front. Their families sent them presents, and the Kaiser sent countless Christmas trees, cigars, pipes, and chocolates to the German trenches. The British received brass boxes from Princess Mary containing cigars, tobacco, sweets, and a Christmas card. Perhaps the most wondrous thing was when they heard the Germans singing Silent Night in German. The British soon joined them in song, and instead of artillery shells and bullets, the trenches rang with the music of Christmas. Christmas Day dawned, and all across the Western Front, soldiers agreed to not shoot each other. They exchanged gifts and asked each other what their addresses were. Some even claimed that soldiers played a soccer game on the snowy ground, and the British supposedly won 3-2. The truce held for 2 days, but some defied their officers and resisted until the new year. The killing then resumed for 4 years, killing 40 million. British propaganda called the Germans Huns, and German propaganda depicted Britain as an octopus, but the soldiers saw each other as human. Inhumanity is all that I see in Palestine right now. Israeli propaganda has called Palestinians inhuman animals, rats, and snakes. To Israel, Palestine is a land without a people for a people without a land. The Palestinians are meant to be cratered into nothingness. Bethlehem has canceled Christmas in response to the recent attacks. One of the unfortunate victims of last week's attacks was the poet, professor, and activist Rafat al-Arir, killed in an Israeli airstrike on December the 7th. This is his last poem. If I must die, you must live to tell my story, to sell my things, to buy a piece of cloth and some strings, make it white with a long tail, so that a child somewhere in Gaza, while looking heaven in the eye, awaiting his dad who left in a blaze and bid no one farewell, not even to his flesh, not even to himself, sees the kite, my kite you made, flying up above, and thinks for a moment an angel is there, bringing back love. If I must die, let it bring hope, let it be a tale. And congratulations to Nancy Holland for finally showing up to a city council meeting for once in your life. Free Palestine.
Thank you. Mr. Williams?
Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Clerk, members of City Council. Now, first off, having served in this body for 28 years, I know the emotions that are being felt around the room here today as change takes place and things move, and you're being called, many of you are being called to other things. Two members I want to, well, first of all, I want to thank all of council for your service to the community. Two members I want to highlight this evening, Councilman Neal, Councilwoman Mosley. Councilman Neal, you represent the birthplace of Williams politics and service to the community. Ward 4 has brought forth many leaders, including my father. I want you to know how well you represented Ward 4, the dignity with which you represented those citizens, even in the midst of some of the disrespect that was shown to you. First off, I want to remind this council and the mayor-elect and the current mayor as to who all of this belongs to. This belongs to us. Does not belong to you. You are a temporary servant in those chairs, okay? And when you disrespect Mr. Neal or a member of this council, you disrespect each and every one of us here. But I want you to know, Russ, I'm very proud of you. And you have, as an African-American male, You have held us up high, and I appreciate that service. Councilwoman Mosley. All I have to say is you are fierce. And thank you for serving all of us. Now, after 28 years, I think I get a couple extra ding-dongs, right? Okay. I want to thank you for your service to the community and your fearlessness. Folks, you are not to be scared of us. You are the reason, we are the reason you are here, okay? And when you go out and you go to those hot meetings, part of the job, and this is for the new members coming as well, part of the job is to go into the lion's den. When you know it's going to be hot, when you know it's going to be contentious, but you show those individuals their respect and you hold them high, and they will always respect you. Even if they disagree with you, they will respect you. Now, Mr. Fusco, I saw you motioning over there, and I promised my wife I was going to be, and she's looking at me, she was going to be nice. So I'm going to be nice. But I'm going to be back. Even if it's every other month, every 6 months, whatever rules you set into place, I will be here to remind you of your responsibilities to everybody out here. We are the bosses, not you. And remember that, Mayor, and I think Councilman Neal gave you the best advice that he could give an incoming mayor. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for that, because there is a sacrifice that goes along with that, okay? But this is God's. This is the people's. You are a public servant, period. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Tanya Lawrence.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. My name is Tanya Renee Williamson Lawrence, but God calls me Grace. The government refers to me as Auntie Tam. Good evening. I give honor to God, who is the head of my life, to the mayor-elect, to the emeritus mayor of Greater Akron, Ohio, to our president of council, all council members, all dignitaries present in the room, and all concerned citizens in the room as well. For this business is at hand on December 11, 2023, day of our Lord Jesus Christ. I am still healthy, wealthy, beautiful inside and outside, resourceful, most of all, clothed and in my right mind, with my Christmas gift from my husband, a suit given to me some years ago. And I am in my right mind, and I had a family crisis. And remember, family is always first, home first. All is well down. In my absence, you have done well, and I take my hat off to you. Chief, as Commander-in-Chief in the Army of Almighty, I am here to say, the Lord preserves the strangers, He will leave the fatherless and the widows. But the way of the wicked He turned upside down. which was my operation Bottom Up. This operation was initiated at Akron U and infiltrated to Akron General Medical Center, now Akron Cleveland Clinic, Akron General Medicine, Akron Cleveland Clinic, Akron General Medical Center, to Suma, towards St. Thomas Behavioral Healing Center, and now where the buck stops, and that stops here. This is phase 2 of a perfect plan, Operation Snake in the Grass, which cannot be perfected without trained authorities only. Stage 1, grab the serpent or the snake by the tail. Then stage 2, grip the two-headed snake by beneath the head, and because he is a thief and has no friends and no prisoners. Then separate the body from the heads, and the tail end will give you what the history will tell the story and my story in Hollywood.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Lawrence.
Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with.
We do have 2 individuals who are signed up and are appearing virtually. Octavius, are you online with us? Octavius or Alana?
I am.
Okay, wonderful. I'm just going to ask that you be sworn in and you can begin with your comments.
Could you please raise your right hand?
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth? If so, please say I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Madam President, Mayor-elect, council members, I thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening and to your service for our communities. Some of you may remember me speaking before you in 2022, or maybe from the email that I sent out to each of you last week regarding the special assessment that I thought you would have been voting on last week. I've lived in my home in Elliott in Ward 6 for the past 20 years. Behind my house is a 4-lane divided highway that myself and my 3 neighbors are assessed on for street lighting, cleaning, and resurfacing. We do not have any direct access to this road from our homes. Every May, my neighbors and I receive a certified letter, standard procedure, for properties who have a special assessment that is greater than $500, and ours certainly are. We then write the letter to object, take the day off work if needed, and attend an objection hearing. They have consistently ruled in our favor that the assessment is unfair and have discounted it for us. Last year, the findings were that we should not have to come back year after year and that this injustice needs to be permanently corrected. My neighbors and I have been working with our councilman, Mr. McKittrick, for the last 4 years to find a permanent solution, and with his predecessor before that. And even with Mr. McKittrick's, all of his hard work, unfortunately, nothing is getting resolved. Month after month after month, something more important than us trumps our concerns, and it feels so unfair. I had such great hopes that this would come before you for a vote before the 2023 tax assessments come out, especially since the road behind our house, the highway, was resurfaced and an additional $600 to $800 or more tax bill is coming our way. Why is our issue stuck in legislation, but others are getting their issues through? How many years do we have to wait and continue paying taxes that the Equalization Board, along with many of you, I've spoken with so many of you in person, and many of you agree with us that this is unfair. It may not seem like one to you, but this feels like an emergency to us, a financial emergency. Please, we are good, hardworking, tax-paying citizens. Who can help us resolve this? Thank you.
Thank you. That actually concludes our public comment period for this evening. We want to thank all of those who have participated. And at this time, I'm going to ask that we have a motion for adjournment. Councilman Malik?
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to take one more minute and thank also the members of the outgoing administration, the members of the cabinet who are here week in and week out for their service and for their time. We really appreciate it and want to thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman. We do have a motion on the floor for adjournment. If there are no objections, meeting adjourned.
Okay, we're going to take a brief break and be back at 7 o'clock for the swearing-in ceremony. Thank you.